Okay. Um, can somebody come up here real quick and pass out these note cards? They just all go no. Yeah, one per person, and the pens too. Somebody else who apparently can't say, yes, thank you. Can you give everyone a pen, please? Since these two over here just, can somebody do this? No. That, well, there's not going to be a next time, so I'm not going to just ask again. Oh well. It's fine. Thank you. All right. All right. Yes, I should, shouldn't I? Sorry. It'd be a lot easier to hear me. I forgot. It's gotten to the point where I forget that it's there. Um, Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you, Ryan. And let me just make sure that we've actually got audio on the live stream for if anyone's remote. I don't think they are. Yep. Okay, good. Yes. Okay. Great. So in case anyone missed Kim's text earlier, she's not here this week, and you guys are stuck with me, so congrats. Thanks for the fake enthusiasm. I appreciate it. So did anyone in here have a bedtime routine that when you were really little, that like your parents helped you with every single night? Like, yeah, right? Like, helped you brush your teeth, whatever, change your pajamas, whatever. I did, and there was this one time, probably around like first or second grade, I remember one night, for whatever reason, it was just me, my brother, and my dad at home, and I decided that I was going to get ready for bed all by myself, because I was a big kid, I could do it, right? So, got in my pajamas, did everything else I was supposed to do, except I forgot one thing, and as I was walking downstairs to go show that I was able to get ready for bed all by myself, I realized I forgot to brush my teeth. Okay? I figured it wasn't that big of a deal because I was a very small child and didn't think much of it, and went up and told my dad that I got ready all by myself. And he started asking me questions to make sure I did everything. And eventually it got to the point where he asked me, "Did you brush your teeth?" And I hadn't, but I wanted to look good, so I said yes, like a lie, right? And he told me to smile to prove that I had actually done it. He said, "Let me see." And I think that he was kind of joking there, and there was like I realize now he probably wouldn't have been able to tell really if I brushed my teeth or not. Like, if it didn't look good, I assume he probably would have thought, oh, just did a bad job, or he couldn't tell, right? I realize that now, but back then I thought that he had some magical power that he could absolutely tell if I even gave any effort into brushing my teeth. And he was across the room, by the way, when he asked me that question, so there's no way he could have known. So in that moment, I said, "Oh, man, you caught me." And it was at that moment that, I felt super guilty, and he got really upset, not because I didn't brush my teeth. That wasn't really the big deal, but that I chose to lie about it, especially something so stupid as not brushing my teeth. And I could just tell that hurt him, and that in turn ended up hurting me. But this is probably kind of a goofy story now, but it doesn't, I'm not even sure that my dad remembers it, but I know that we've all lied, and I know I've told lies since then. I'm sure all of you have. I can almost guarantee you there's not a single person in this room who's never told a lie. Um, and this lesson is not about lying. But it's true that with the internet and social media and everything, lies spread very, very, very easily. You know, the internet is filled with so many good things, but how often do you guys see a news article or something pop up on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you're like, what on earth? Like, that can't be real. Or you find out that it isn't. Or you find out that it is because, this past year has been insane. But fake news goes around the internet like crazy. And people hit the share button with only seeing a headline and a mildly convincing photo, right? So those things can spread like wildfire. So we are going to play Kahoot, as some of you noticed earlier. So go ahead and get out your phones, and we're going to try to decide, and it counts really fast, so you're going to have to read the thing really quick. You need to decide if the headline that I'm showing you is real or fake. I worked really hard to try and find some that are real. So give me a second, and I'll turn these on. And I'll turn that down a little bit because it doesn't need to be that loud. Yeah, give me 1 second. You can do whatever. I don't care as long as it's appropriate. I'm working on that. Yeah. Sorry, it's just hard to find the thing. Okay, great. Look at that. And I will be sitting over here. And that should turn off on the screen in just a second. There we go. I'm not sure if there's anyone online, but if I'm just absolutely blasting out your ears with Kahoot music, I'm sorry. How many people are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Is anyone else still trying to get in? Because we don't have a ton of time. Anyone? Or are we all good? He's got a question. He's having trouble. Yeah, it's just, is it real or is it fake?
Do those switch, or is it always real on the left?
I set them up so that they stay the same, but I don't remember which one's on the right or left, so just...
I just want to make sure I can switch. I want to.
Okay, good, everyone? Great, we're going to start. Okay, nonsense paper written by iOS autocomplete is accepted for a conference. That's your phone autocomplete. Is this real or is it fake? It is real. All right. Next one. FTC rules. Businesses must disclose whether they are actually cool or just using minimalist branding. Okay. That one was a little easy. Justin Bieber walks off stage in Manchester after asking fans to stop screaming. Wow. I thought I did a better job with these, but apparently not. All right. News of the Curse continues. A fifth mule has drowned in New England Aquarium's mule tank. That one. Well, was there something inappropriate on it? Oh, yeah, because it is. All right. I think there's only one more. No, there's two more. Sorry. Canadian Zoo fined after taking a bear out for ice cream. Okay, you guys are actually really good at this. I didn't put it in a pattern. It's automatically choosing it. I promise you. Walmart now requires all shoppers to wear pants. Yeah, okay, that might be a little easy. Walmart does not officially require people to wear pants. The saying is no shoes, no shirt, no service. They never said anything about pants. Whoops. Awesome. Okay. All right. So, all right, that was just a little fun thing with the real and fake news, obviously. So you get an idea of what's real, what's fake. Some of those, I guess, were a little bit more obvious than when I was making that at 1 a.m. last night. But you get the idea. Some of those headlines that were real maybe didn't quite sound so real. So it's concerning how quickly things can go about. So the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about what two things about who Jesus is. Who remembers the first week? Yes, Jesus is God. Good job. What was our lesson last week? Who did we learn Jesus is last week? Yes. She's got it. All right, so based on everything I've told you already today, what do you think we're talking about Jesus is today? Truth. Jesus is, yeah, okay, that's a good point too. But Jesus is truth is what our lesson is about today. So if I'm gonna have you guys open up your Bibles to John 18, verse 23 through 38, and I'm gonna ask somebody to read for me because I am not gonna read it. John 18, verses 23 through 38. What's that? 1,171. So, Emma, does that mean you're going to read for us? Great. Here's a microphone. Chapter 18, verse 23 through 38. 18. No, we go back to chapter 8 at the end. It actually works backward through the story. It's actually very interesting. Okay. All right, Emma?
It's still 33?
Verse 23
Oh, 23
to 38.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get that now.
Does that make more sense?
Yes. I was like, it's stopping in like the middle. I was like, what?
No.
All right.
Where is it? Jesus replied, "If I said something wrong, you must prove it. But if I'm speaking the truth, why are you beating me?" Then Annas brought Jesus and sent him to Caiaphas, the high priest. Meanwhile, as Simon Peter was standing by the fire warming himself, they asked him again, "You are not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it, saying, "No, I am not." But one of those household slaves from the high priest, a relative of the man whose ears Peter has cut off, asked, "Didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus?" Again, Peter denied it, and immediately a rooster crowed. Jesus' trial before Caiaphas ended in the early hours of the morning. Then he was taken to the headquarters of the Roman governor. His accusers didn't go inside because it would defile them, and they wouldn't be allowed to celebrate the Passover. So Pilate, the governor, went out to them and asked, "What is your charge against this man?" "We wouldn't have handed him over to you if he weren't a criminal," they retorted. "Then take him away and judge him by your own law," Pilate told them. "Only the Romans are permitted to execute someone," the Jewish leaders replied. This fulfilled Jesus' prediction about the way he would die. Then Pilate went back into his headquarters and called for Jesus to be brought to him. "Are you the king of the Jews?" he asked. Jesus replied, "Is that your own question, or did others tell you that about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate retorted. "Your own people and their leading priests brought you to me for trial. Why? What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. If it were, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish leaders. But my kingdom is not of this world." Pilate said, "So you are a king?" Jesus responded, "You say I'm a king. Actually, I was born and came into this world to testify to the truth. And all who love the truth and recognize that what I say is true." "What is the truth?" Pilate asked. Then he went out again to the people and told them, "He is not guilty of any crime."
Okay. So, key points of that whole thing are toward the end, that whole interaction. First, it's the religious leaders who want Jesus dead. Because if you go back a little bit further, the reason they don't like him is because he's going around basically pointing out things in the Old Testament that they were focused on. He's like, no, that's not how we actually do things. Like, that's not how we should be doing it, right? So they didn't like that because it was basically going against them, and people were following Jesus and not listening to them. And they weren't a fan, so they wanted him dead, but they couldn't be the ones to sentence him to death. So they turned to Pilate, and he wasn't originally convinced that Jesus deserved to die. But Pilate had Jesus come in for questioning anyway and asked, "Are you king of the Jews?" And part of it is because, the Roman Empire already had a king, King Herod, at the time. And Jesus could be considered a threat at that point if he's going around calling himself a king. Jesus responds with two things. He said, Emma, you closed it, but I didn't write it down because I didn't think to for some reason. But he said, turned around and said, "Is that your own question, or did somebody else tell you that was the case?" And he went on to say that his kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. At this point, Pilate gets a little concerned. And the interaction continues, and Pilate asks, "What is truth?" And Jesus basically says, I don't know why I just did this, but that's what Jesus said, okay? He's like, I'm right here. So, truth is not just an idea, it is Jesus. We're going to open our Bibles now to John 14, if you could. And can somebody, Emma, you've still got the microphone, if you wouldn't mind reading again, verses 1 through 7. (14) 1-4. (1 through 7).
Oh, 7, all right. "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, and trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If it were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? When everything is ready, I will come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am. And you know the way to where I am going." "No, we don't know the Lord," Thomas said. "We have no idea where you're going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus told him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. If you had really known me, you would know who my Father is. From now on, you do know him and have seen him.
All right. That's a really important portion, but it's also kind of a controversial topic, and we'll talk about why in a second. But again, quick recap. The disciples are basically scared of the position that they're in because of their affiliation with Jesus. So Jesus is like, don't worry, guys. I got a plan. Gonna have a spot for you prepared, my Father's house, right? Like, he's like, I got you guys covered. Don't you worry about a thing. They didn't really like that answer because they don't understand. They say, we don't know God. And as we learned in the first week, Jesus is God. So keep that in mind. He's trying to stretch that he is the way, and what you keep closing your Bible. What was the last thing he said about nobody can get through except through me? Say it one more time. Right. That is considered to be a controversial topic because the idea nobody can get to the Father except through me is seems like people are being left out. I'm sure people have doubts about that line. It's something that gets referenced a lot as an argument against Christianity. But I want you guys to just think about, and this is what I gave you the note cards for. I don't think we're going to have time to sit here for reflections too long because I'm actually going a little bit over. But I want you guys to think about, and if you want to write it on your note card just to keep for yourself, we're not going to discuss it or anything unless you want to bring it up in your own small group. But just think about why it's a hard thing to understand, what doubts you might have when you hear that line. We talked about doubts a lot, I think, in our last series, that we all have doubts and questions, and so it's okay to have those doubts and questions. That's a line that raises a lot of questions for a lot of people. But we're going to take a look at one final verse, and Emma, I'm going to make you read one more time. I'm sorry. And what? You don't want her to read? Okay, good. Ben wants to read. Great. Here, I'll take the microphone from you. Thanks, Ben. Okay, that's okay. You're going to be flipping to John 8, verse 32. Just verse 32. Here you go.
Thank you. John 8, verse 32.
Yes.
And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Okay, that's it.
Thank
That
you.
I know, that was a really easy thing for you to read. But when we know Jesus, we know truth. As he just said, the truth sets us free. Free from the power of sin and death, free from believing the lies about God, ourselves, and our others, free from anger, guilt, shame. Guys, the point here is that Jesus is truth. And that is going to be what pretty much wraps up our series, and we'll continue that discussion in small groups. So, was there anyone who hasn't been here for the past 2 weeks? Great. You guys are going to get into your small groups, and I know that there's a group that doesn't have either of its leaders, but go ahead and get to your small groups, and we'll see who goes where. Okay?